Just don't hit your head.
I'll try my best. No, I'm not just trying to get some cardboard. I'm making a video. There we go. Now we're synced up. Yeah, overstimulated, underproductive. I have been feeling like trash. Hence why I'm standing in this dumpster, you know? Kind of been feeling like a robot, you know? Not really a complex one. It's like I got one line of code and I just repeat that one line over and over. It never gets more complicated than that. And I'm like stuck on a cycle and I hate it. You know, it's a little extra exciting being out here and seeing people look at me in a dumpster. It gives me a little excitement, but you know, stuck on a cycle. Recently relapsed into addiction. You might know the drug, League of Legends. And I say I'm gonna quit when I hit gold, but you know, I'm probably coping. And it was gross too, like the way I play, I have like a YouTube video on one screen, the game on one screen. When I'm in queue waiting, I'm playing a different game, and it's just like when I look at it from a outside perspective, I just picture this like coke addict who's just, you know, ugh. It's just disgusting. And what's really sad is like 2 weeks ago, I felt like I had it right. I was meditating, eating right, pounding water, reading books, stretching, and like a bunch more. I felt like I had it going, but then literally 2 weeks later, I just folded, and all of a sudden I'm scrolling on Instagram. I'm just like rotting my brain, and it's so easy to just fall apart. It was so easy for my brain to just flip right back and want that instant gratification and this constant stimulation. It's gross. Did you know the average attention span is less than a goldfish? A fucking goldfish, are you serious? That's so sad. Short form content is just taking over every platform and honestly ruining us. And it's so much dopamine with every single swipe, and a perfect algorithm to match it to ensure that we never run out of content, to stimulate our little monkey brains and just get them clapping like that, you know? It's like a fucking time machine. You know, you open up TikTok, you start scrolling, and all of a sudden 3 hours go by and you haven't done anything that you told yourself you were gonna do. And then you just get anxious and you feel like your life's falling apart, you know? Like, it's so easy. It's so easy. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like people are losing the ability to actually process their thoughts because they never want to be alone with them, and they're never alone with them. There's constant, invigorating content in our faces everywhere we look and go, you know? It's like I can feel my brain crying for stimulation. You know what else I think? Common sense is at an all-time low, and at the same time, we're the most polarized ever. Like, it's no wonder though, if you think about it, like nobody thinks for themselves. We don't critically think anymore. It's all just whatever some celebrity or YouTuber said while reacting to a video. That's like your current thought. You don't even think for yourself. It's just whatever somebody else is thinking for you. And it's stupid. It's like, no wonder we're so polarized, dude. It's just, you don't have your own opinions and you don't back anything up with your own logic. Another thing I was thinking is, if I had to guess the percentage of people my age who read books, I'd estimate it to be like 10 to 15%, if not lower. And like, the long form content is better for you in the long run, but the short form is better for you in the short run. You know, it's easier to go on Instagram and scroll, but it's harder to read a fucking book. I was working and I bartended, and it was a slow shift, and I kid you not, we were all just like talking, and I was like, oh man, I really forgot my book. And one of the chicks working there looked at me and said, like, a reading book? No, bitch, my fucking picture book. I was gonna color on my shift. Like, what? I've never been so disappointed. She's older than me too. Jesus Christ, dude. It's so bad. I couldn't believe that she fucking said that. A reading book? What else would I have meant by book? Kindle? That's still a reading book by her definition. Like, I'm still gonna read it. Oh my god, bro. So then instead of reading, we just like swipe. Get all these little dopamine shots. And another like no-brainer is that my generation has the most anxiety and ADHD ever, and the numbers are still just going up. And it's like, I do believe that some people have genuine chemical imbalances. Like, I have ADHD, but like, it doesn't mean you're unable to do something, you know? Obviously, you're not going to want to do a lot of things, but like, you can hyperfixate on things, and then you just like do them, you know? Like, I'll hyperfixate on editing these videos, and all of a sudden I've edited for like 8 hours, forgot to eat 2 meals, and I'm dehydrated. But like, I was doing a thing. You know, some people I feel like just say they have it because they don't want to have to think for themselves, and they're lazy as fuck. I said it, you know? And the other thing with the anxiety and depression, this is random take, but Andrew Tate actually has a genuinely good perspective on depression. I don't like a lot of the other stuff he pushes. I denounce the misogyny and sex trafficking, yada yada yada, allegedly. But the whole idea that he has on it is that yes, depression exists, and yes, you feel that as an emotion, but it should not be a clinical diagnosis. You know, it's a feeling that you can have at a moment, but you can surpass it. And I feel like that's really empowering to, instead of just chop it up to, oh, I have depression, that's why I'm sad. Oh, I have depression, I can't do this. Oh, I have depression, I can't do this. Oh, I have anxiety, I can't check my emails. And it's like, holy shit. Andrew Tate doesn't do a lot good, but the whole accountability and trusting yourself, and it's empowering to yourself, you know? By having that mindset, it's so much better than a victim mindset. To sit there and just be like, oh my god, no, I can't, my depression, my anxiety, oh. It's like, so pathetic, honestly. And oh my gosh. I know that there's times where you're gonna be depressed and feel like there's no way out. Like, I've fucking been there. But you have to understand that it's a state of mind, and it's something that you can surpass. It just takes time. And I'm not saying the internet's all bad. I'm gonna be honest. Evolution, we're at the point where I don't think anybody should have to take a shit without some sort of stimulation. I don't think people should be on the toilets without being on their phone. You know, like, that just seems like we're past that. You shouldn't have to be bored while you're taking a shit. Or, like, we're able to instantaneously send messages across the world and then also get them back. But we're also at a point where social media is where real news comes from. Like, and everyone has a voice, and things can get blown up, and people can lie, and all of this stuff can happen so fast. I do, however, feel that there's been like an exponential boom with technology, and I don't think our monkey brains have had the time to properly process it or like incorporate it into our lives. Like, we follow people on social media, friend them on Facebook, but it's not like real human interaction. But through the semantics of it, your brain's gonna tell you that it is. And I feel like we're losing more and more human interaction, especially after COVID. And it's like, people need human interaction. They need to see people face to face. But now we have people who are chronically online, who have solely friends on Discord, and they don't ever see people eye to eye, and they wonder why they're anxious. It's like, it kind of makes sense. You don't ever actually talk to people. And I'm kind of just worried about the direction we're heading with the short form content. I just feel like gradually people are getting dumber and dumber. And I try to talk about it with people, and everyone's just like, you're just reading into it too much. And then they go back and scroll and can't remember the last 5 sentences. They can't remember 5 sentences ago what we were just fucking talking about. It's like, are you serious? You got mush for brains, dude. That's wild. And like, I just wish people would unplug for like a day and then see what they're doing, you know? It's like they're just pickling their brain in technology and they're just running it dry, dude. And another huge thing with the anxiety, depression, ADHD, I feel like with all this overstimulation comes escapism, where you want to get diagnosed with this so you have a reason so that you can just swipe and play the games and do whatever because you don't want to live in reality. So then you choose to no longer live in reality. You're just in a constant state of consumption, and in that constant state it makes it so fucking hard to return to reality, because life isn't Family Guy and Subway Surfer clips. It's not funny memes, cat videos, or whatever video game you're into at the current moment. It's hard, and it's life, and things happen, and the more you interconnect yourself with the internet and the short form content and the brain rot, the more dissonance you're gonna have in your life, because you're just gonna become like an empty shell that's void of your own personality and emotions and your own thoughts, because you don't critically think, you don't think for yourself, you don't ask yourself questions, you don't have time to let your thoughts actually marinate in your brain. Like, the only way to make a good ass teriyaki chicken is if you let that chicken marinate. You gotta let it soak the juices, but everyone's brain is dry as fuck. Everybody got dry brain. Dry mush brain. That's what we got. Everybody has dry mush brain. And nobody actually processes their thoughts. And then I try and talk about it, and all of a sudden I'm a weirdo because I feel like we're all getting stupider. Dumber. Stupider. I don't know. I didn't write a happy conclusion, so we're gonna freestyle the ending and see how we feel about it. I feel like if you are not creating content, you are being used as a consumer to somebody else. And that's not always a bad thing, because sometimes it's nice to scroll a little bit on Instagram when you're taking a shit. Like, I don't need to sit there in silence and think about thoughts while, like, I don't care. But it also feels like the way that content is pushed onto people, ads are shorter, the news is more extreme. Everything today relies on super extreme parallels, where it's like you look through YouTube and it's like the best, the most extreme, the worst, and it's like everything is so extreme one way or another. Nobody's just like making stuff and trying to just sort through it, I guess. And another thing that I'm just really worried about is the loss of critical thinking, where people don't think for themselves. They just think thoughts because they heard it on a Joe Rogan podcast. And they don't look into anything. They just believe it because they believe it. And that's a little worrying. I'm not thinking of having kids anytime soon, but if I was, I'd be pretty fucking horrified, you know? Because a lot of these people who are now having kids were raised where if they cried, they just had an iPad shoved in their face. So like, my generation's already been told to resort to escapism. That's the other thing. It's not just the internet. Like, it's not just TikTok. It's the lack of self. The lack of self. It's not a lack of self. As I said at the very end, as I tried freestyling it, it's a lack of presence. You know, your mind is never actually where you're at anymore. It's always busy being occupied with something else. People can't recall the sentence 5 seconds ago because in reality, they're not actually paying attention. People are losing their ability to focus on things because they're so used to having their focus split into 5 billion different directions. So when they try to formulate it into one thing, they can't. You know, and it's horrible. It's dumb, and it's really, really fucking annoying. I've had conversations with people, and they just like won't remember a couple sentences ago, like a thing that they were trying to talk about, or they just like, as soon as the conversation gets like quiet, It's like a magnet straight to their phone, dude. It's, that's better. That's better. And more what I was talking about. Overstimulated, underproductive. Schnoz out. Stay safe. Don't be a bot. I love you.